The other mothers became extremely cautious and locked their children inside, fearing that their child would be the next. One of the mothers followed Bobby's mother to a native doctor to assist them in locating the missing boy. As they stood before the shrine, the native doctor listened intently as they recounted their ordeal. With each word, a sense of foreboding filled the air. The native doctor closed his eyes, murmuring chants that seemed to stir the spirits. Then, with a solemn tone, he instructed, "Return with an item belonging to the boy." Clutching Bobby's beloved shoe, the mothers returned, their hearts heavy with hope and fear. The native doctor resumed his ritual, his voice a blend of authority and sorrow. Abruptly, he sighed deeply, his words falling like stones. "The boy is already dead." Bobby's mother's anguish erupted in raw, uncontrollable sobs, while the other mother stood frozen in terror. Despite the despair, the native doctor pressed on, his chants weaving through the air. Suddenly, he paused, his voice gaining a new urgency. Fafa, the village's well-respected elder, and Sam, a young bachelor, lived in a very large compound with 5 other families. The compound was always vibrant, the boys running around with tires controlled with sticks, and the little girls boiling rice in tin containers with fire they fetched from their mother's firewood. While preparing dinner for their families, their mothers would spend the evening exchanging stories about everything that had happened in the village. The children enjoyed listening to Afa tell them stories. He was a gentle man who had a way with children. He was known for his warm smile and infectious laughter. Their mothers warned them not to enter Sam's house because when he was not hunting, he stayed indoors and spoke little to his neighbors, adding to the air of mystery surrounding him. Obi, one of the boys, had a penchant for taking his tire on long runs, ignoring the warnings of his peers. One day, he ventured out as usual, but this time he didn't come back. His absence sent a wave of panic through the families in the village. The village was in a frenzy as each child was questioned about Obi's whereabouts. "Where did you last see him?" an elder asked. "He just kept going when Bobby said it was time to head back," one of the kids replied, referring to the moment when Bobby, the eldest among them, had declared, "On your marks, get set, go," signaling the end of their playtime. Meanwhile, the elders organized a search party, combing through all the familiar paths and hideouts where the children played. Obi's mother was beside herself with worry, pacing back and forth, lamenting, "He never listens. This boy has killed me." After hours of fruitless searching, the search party returned, their faces etched with concern and fatigue. Obi was still nowhere to be found. As the moon rose high in the sky, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was Sam, carrying an unconscious Obi in his arms. The villagers gathered around, their eyes flickering with a mix of relief and concern. "Where did you find him?" one of the elders asked. "I found him lying unconscious on my way back from hunting," Sam replied, his voice weary. A collective sigh of relief washed over the crowd until someone noticed Obi's hands. A gasp rippled through the group as they saw that his thumb and pinky finger were missing on both hands. "What happened to his hands?" someone whispered in horror. Obi's mother, tears streaming down her face, turned to Sam and cried, "What have you done to my son?" Sam shook his head. "I swear, I found him like this. I don't know what happened." The air was thick with suspicion and fear, but they all knew they had to wait for Obi to wake up. The boy was treated, and by the next morning, he was awake but confused. The villagers gathered around his bed, eager for answers. "Obi, what happened to you?" his mother asked gently. Obi looked at his hands and then at the anxious faces surrounding him. "I don't remember much," he said softly. "I was running. and then I tripped and fell. After that, everything went black." The room was silent as they processed his words. Obi's mother and some of the other mothers believed Sam was the culprit, but because there was no evidence against him, he was left alone. When Afa heard what happened, he advised the moms to remind their kids to always stay close and look out for each other when they play. Obi's mother, burning with a desire for justice, took matters into her own hands. One sunny afternoon, she stealthily made her way to Sam's side of the compound and set fire to his freshly washed clothes. When Sam returned and inquired about his clothes, everyone feigned ignorance. Confronting Obi's mother, he demanded, "Where are my clothes?" Without missing a beat, she retorted, "Check where you left my son's fingers." Sam, boiling with rage, stormed off to complain to Afa and her husband. Afa, in his wisdom, spoke to Obi's mother, urging her to find solace in the fact that a good Samaritan had brought her son home. Sam, choosing to rise above the pettiness, let the incident slide and remained silent. 3 months later, the village was shaken again when Bobby, the outspoken boy, vanished after a heated argument with his mother over dishwashing duties. Panic set in as night fell, and there was still no sign of him. Interestingly, Sam had also been away that morning. The search for Bobby turned up empty, leading his mother to collapse in despair, wailing, "My son! Where is my son? God, who did I offend?" Amidst the chaos, Afa emerged, his calm presence a beacon of hope. He advised the frantic families to stay calm and unite in prayer for Bobby's safe return. When the day dawned, neither Bobby nor Sam had returned. The other mothers became extremely cautious and locked their children inside, fearing that their child would be the next. One of the mothers followed Bobby's mother to a native doctor to assist them in locating the missing boy. As they stood before the shrine, the native doctor listened intently as they recounted their ordeal. With each word, a sense of foreboding filled the air. The native doctor closed his eyes, murmuring chants that seemed to stir the spirits. Then, with a solemn tone, he instructed, "Return with an item belonging to the boy." Clutching Bobby's beloved shoe, the mothers returned, their hearts heavy with hope and fear. The native doctor resumed his ritual, his voice a blend of authority and sorrow. Abruptly, he sighed deeply, his words falling like stones. "The boy is already dead." Bobby's mother's anguish erupted in raw, uncontrollable sobs, while the other mother stood frozen in terror. Despite the despair, the native doctor pressed on, his chants weaving through the air. Suddenly, he paused, his voice gaining a new urgency. "Wait, his body resides within your compound." The mother's shock was palpable. The native doctor's eyes bore into theirs as he gave a chilling directive. "Before the cock crows thrice tomorrow morning, stand at the entrance of your gate and observe closely. One amongst you will depart with a bag. Search it diligently, for within you shall see your son." With heavy hearts and minds swirling with unanswered questions, the mothers left the shrine, bound by a grim resolve. As they walked back in silence, the weight of the native doctor's words pressed upon them, a silent oath to unveil the truth that lay hidden in the shadows of their compound. When they got to the compound, they found Bobby's father pounding blows on Sam, asking him to return his son. Sam had just returned from his journey and was confused by the allegations when some of the women called him a killer. Afa settled the matter by sitting both men down and asked that everyone act mature and pray. Later on, Afa gave Bobby's family money to comfort them, and they were grateful for his generosity. Bobby's mother remained outside to keep watch after everyone retired for the night. Her husband was concerned that his wife had gone insane with grief, but he let her go after all of his attempts to get her in proved futile. She sat there all night, waiting for the person who would travel with a bag. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Sam stepped out of his building, clutching 2 bags. The mothers who had been waiting in the shadows sprang into action. "I knew it. I knew it would be you," Bobby's mother accused, her voice laced with anger. Sam, taken aback, stammered, "What is it again?" As the mothers surrounded him.
"Shut up, child killer. Did you think we wouldn't find out what's in your bag?"
The other mother shouted, her voice trembling with rage. They wrestled the bags from his grasp and began rummaging through them. Just then, Arthur appeared, his silhouette framed by the breaking dawn, carrying a bag of his own. Their attention returned to Sam's bags, which, to their dismay, contained nothing but his personal belongings. Even though the mothers couldn't believe that gentle Arthur could be involved in such a heinous act, Bobby's mother, driven by a mother's intuition, raced towards Arthur, demanding, "Open your bag." Arthur, taken aback, responded, "What kind of disrespect is this?" The other mother, trying to keep the peace, explained, "We're just looking for Bobby." Arthur retorted, "And you are looking for him in my bag?" But before he could react further, Bobby's mother snatched the bag and tore it open. There was a momentary pause as everyone held their breath, and then a collective gasp filled the air. The mothers let out a collective scream of horror, drawing the attention of the entire village as the horrific sight of Bobby's battered, lifeless body, tightly wrapped in tape, was revealed. At that moment, Arthur tried to escape, but Sam, quick on his feet, tackled him to the ground. Bobby's mother collapsed, her cries of anguish echoing through the air as she cradled the remains of her son. Bobby's father, fueled by a fury like no other, charged at Arthur, unleashing a torrent of blows. The village was engulfed in chaos as the dark truth that had been lurking in their midst was finally brought to light. Arthur was swiftly arrested, and following a trial that sent shockwaves through the village, he was sentenced to death by hanging for his heinous crimes. In a chilling confession, he admitted to severing Obi's fingers and using a sinister charm to erase his memory. He coldly revealed that he had used Obi's fingers and Bobby's life in dark rituals to maintain his wealth and power. In the wake of this revelation, the mothers and Bobby's father extended heartfelt apologies to Sam, acknowledging their grave misjudgment. To make amends, Obi's mother presented Sam with new clothes, a small gesture to replace the ones she had unjustly destroyed. In the aftermath of the harrowing events, the village was forever changed. The children, once carefree and rebellious, now played within the safety of their homes. The tragic loss of Bobby served as a stark reminder that people may seem good on the outside, but the heart of man, who can fathom it?